Hi everyone. So sorry that I haven't been able to do a video for a little while. I have been planning videos and I have thought of a few things I'd like to do, but since sometimes the time of day when it's light and bright enough doesn't work out with when I can actually do it. Also I am kind of struggling with just the pressure of making welcoming and informative videos. I really want to do that for you guys, and when I started putting videos on, I was basically experimenting. I didn't really think that anyone would watch them. So now that you are subscribing and liking and viewing and commenting, I just wanted to say thank you, because it makes it more like a conversation for me, and I feel like now I just want to make really good quality videos for you guys. So hi and welcome, and let's get into today's video. And one more quick thing before we start. I actually got this stencil, this lace stencil off Amazon. It's for cake making, but I think I'm going to use it in my sketchbook and for art. So there's that, and I also got this rose garland mold for cake making, but it could also be used for plaster in artwork. And the reason they make it for cakes is this is a food grade material that they're using it for, but I think that would be really nice in artworks as well. So today I am really excited to show you my updated palette and swatch it out for you. And I'm keeping everything in this wooden palette box that I got off Jackson's Art. So here are all the paints and goodies. And also, just before we get into it, I got these Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils and some Derwent watercolors and a couple of Caran d'Ache just pencils, and so I might swatch those for you guys at the end. And because I like to learn kind of very visually, I thought that I would try and put the paints along here and just show you before we do each row in the palette which ones we're kind of working on, so that you can kind of see the difference between them in the pans and then what they look like on the paper. So we're going to start with a row of blues. Okay, so we're all set up and let's get started. So first up we have the Mijello Ivory Black. And there's a lot of different ways to do swatches, but I like to do them this way, just to get a feel for how the paint's going to flow, the colours in the granulation, and things like that. Then we have the indigo. So this is the Daniel Smith Indigo, and I was really particular when I've put together this palette. I've looked through a lot of colours just to really find, I guess I like, this is the Kyanite, Daniel Smith. So I guess I really like colours that aren't not necessarily warm or cool. I mean, they do gravitate toward one or the other, but I like just that kind of, not necessarily yellow undertones, not necessarily too much cool undertones. One of the good things about swatching as well is that you start to learn about your colours, like you figure out which ones don't re-wet as easily. So that was the Daniel Smith Lapis Lazuli, and I'll just show you here as well. When you know that there's colours that aren't going to re-wet very well, I just like to drop a little bit of water on them, and that just will start to soften them up. Okay, then we have cobalt blue. And then we have manganese. These are Daniel Smith, these are all Daniel Smith. Then we have Sleeping Beauty turquoise, which I really love in a completely soft concentration. It goes to this really gorgeous powder blue, and that's one of the good things about swatching your colours, is that you'll learn which ones you like in what strengths and things like that. And I will just show you that at the end here I will talk a little bit about my new swatching process, and I am going to do some of these up for you guys. I'll show you what these are and how to do them at the end of this video, but I think they're just going to be a really good resource, and it's taken me a while to figure out how to do them like this, and what I would need and what I'm looking for in a swatch. So we'll talk about that at the end. Okay, so next row is the greens, and we have some Daniel Smiths. We've got a Schmincke and a Sennelier, and so the row we're getting from here will be this kind of will be this kind of colour in here, and the spring green in here. Okay, the terra vert, and so this one's a really nice one. It granulates in and has a really nice sedimentation, so it settles, and you get a really nice colour, just a nice colouring. This is the Kingman Green Turquoise, and it's not really turquoise. It's a pretty colour, but I expected it to be like more of a mint colour. So you can see like the difference here between, this is the Sleeping Beauty turquoise and this is the Kingman green. This is the phthalo blue shade, phthalo green blue shade. And then we have so that's the Sennelier phthalo green, and then we have, which is like a blue shade, and then we have the Daniel Smith phthalo green green shade, or yellow shade, sorry. And then we have Daniel Smith Amazonite, which is a really pretty colour. I haven't used it that much. Then we have the Daniel Smith Fuchsite, and at the end I'll show you a couple of these colours have a beautiful, they're the genuine, so they come straight from the earth, and they have a really beautiful sparkle. Okay, that's the Sennelier green, and then we have the Daniel Smith Spring Green, and then we have the Daniel Smith Green Gold. Okay, so next we have the browns, and they will be straight down here, and a couple of these, I think one of them's missing because I just got it in the Schmincke pan, half pan with a set that I got as an early Christmas present. So, okay, let's go. Hematite is the Daniel Smith one, and I've been using this a lot for shadows. It's a really nice one. It's not black, but it has kind of it's got some brown that settles into it. Next we have the Daniel Smith Van Dyke Brown, these colours, especially the granulating Daniel Smith browns for doing urban sketching, and it just feels like the old masters painting. So this is the Schmincke Sepia, and so next we have the Daniel Smith EF, which is environmentally friendly brown iron oxide, which is kind of similar to the Van Dyke, but it's lighter. It's got a similar sort of consistency. Then we have, okay, so next we have the Schmincke transparent brown. We've got much there. Brown. Next we have the Schmincke burnt sienna. And then next we have the Sedona Genuine from Daniel Smith. So I guess these are my selections of like Venetian reds, and they're useful in botanical painting, they're useful in urban sketching, in portraiture. Okay, so we have Tiger's Eye Genuine, which is here. And again, it's just another one of those really nice granulating colours, which is perfect for buildings and things like that. Then we have Italian Deep Ochre. And so I haven't actually gone with a traditional ochre. I've got a few kind of alternatives. Then we have Ghostlight. Then we have French Ochre. Then we have Verona Gold Ochre, which is, I believe, the same pigment as the Daniel Smith Yellow Ochre. It's just a lighter version of that. Then we have Iridescent Gold, which I'll show you under the light at the end. And then we have Duochrome Desert Pearl, or Duochrome Desert. That might be it. So there's that. Okay, so on to the next page, which is pinks and purples. Okay, so I'm missing Quinn Rose. I'm not sure where that is, but now we have the reds, and the pinks and oranges and yellows, which is along here. So the first one is Mayan Red, and I took a long time to decide about reds, and I'm thinking as well to add Winsor Red. I really liked this because it was just like it's sort of a strawberry colour. So we have Ruby Red by Schmincke. Next we have Quinacridone Rose by Daniel Smith. And I picked this one over the pink, the Quinacridone Pink, because it went from a really deep to a really, really light colour. So I thought I could get a lot of sort of value out of that. Okay, next we have Brilliant Opera Rose by Daniel Smith. Love that colour. Then we have Madder Rose, or Shadows Matter by Schmincke. It's kind of more of a reddy pink. Then we have Organic Vermilion by Daniel Smith. And then we have Vermilion Light by Schmincke. I love this colour. Then we have Pyrrole Orange by Daniel Smith. Okay, and next we're on to the pinks and yellows and whites, which is here and also here. So we'll start with the pinks, and I just wanted to show you as well in this. So this is the Holbein Shell Pink. Sorry, this is the Holbein Brilliant Pink. So it's a nice pastel pink. And then what I've done is I have actually mixed a little bit of the pearl white in with the Holbein Brilliant Pink because I'd love to have that on hand with the pastel pink and that has the sparkle already in it, so I don't have to mix that up. Next we have the Shell Pink. I love this colour. This is probably got to be somewhere close to one of my favourites. Then I also mixed this up with some white as well, just to have that on hand. Then we have Naples Yellow Reddish from Schmincke, which is a really good base for skin tones and for fair skin tones. And then we have Schmincke Lemon Yellow. I really like this one over the Daniel Smith one because it's a little bit cooler. The Daniel Smith Lemon Yellow is a little warmer. And so then we have the Pearl White and the Titanium White. Now the white in a watercolor palette is always a little bit controversial because some people like to say that the white is the paper, but a lot of people who don't have white in their palette often have buff titanium or Naples yellow or something that is mixed with white to get that colour. So I don't know, I enjoy having it on my palette in case I do need to mix a lighter hue of something. Okay, then, and also I picked the titanium over the zinc white, or because it's a little warmer, and I believe I picked it because it was a little more transparent. So now we're on to the purples. I don't have the tubes for the Moon Glow and Shadow Violet. I think my sister has them. I think this is the Moon Glow. And this is the Shadow Violet. Unless, that could be the other way around. This one could be, I'm not sure, I'll check that for you. Then we have, and the purples are kind of in here. So then we have the Amethyst. This one as well has a really, really nice sparkle in it. And then we have the Sugarlight, which is Daniel Smith. So these are all Daniel Smith so far. So this is the Schmincke Violet, which I really love this colour, and especially mixing this with some of the blues, you get a really nice, like a deep colour. It's really pretty. Then we have the Ultramarine Violet by Daniel Smith. Then we have the Cobalt Violet by this one is by Winsor Newton. Then we have the Schmincke Brilliant Purple. Okay, and so now we have the mauve, the hibiscus, the lilac, which I don't actually have the tubes for. Then we have Moonstone, which I also love for shadows. And then we have the Schmincke Silver, which is a really nice silver. Okay, so let me just show you these in a light, and then we'll talk about the other types of swatches. So there's the Pearl White and the Silver, Moonstone, Interference Lilac, Hibiscus, and the mauve. And then, and also the Holbein ones with the Pearl White in there. And that's the really nice thing about the Pearl White, is that you can make any colours. So Daniel Smith has the really gorgeous iridescence and duochromes and interference, but with the Pearl White you can make any watercolour sparkle. And so this would be the fuchsite, and what else? Anything else? The gold. Okay, so what I've done here is create a box first of all, and I was a bit hesitant for a while to make these up because I'm not a measurer, and you know, all the ones that I've seen are very neatly measured, and I thought, oh, I'll never get to it. So what I've just done is drawn a box, cut that box in half, and then sort of this one in about thirds, and then half again. And up here we would write the name. So let's just do lemon yellow for now. And that would be Schmincke. And then here we would write the pigment information. So and then that way you'll be able to see at a glance, is it a single pigment? How many pigments are made into that mix? and this is good for if you want to mix colours. You know, the more colours that you get in that mix, the muddier the colour could become, so it's really handy for that. And then also transparency, so it's semi-transparent, so you put an open box with a line through it. If it was like opaque, you would colour the box in. Then we would have light fastness here. If it has a good rating, that would be 1. If it's fugitive, which means that over years in a sunny window, that would, you know, the colour would dissipate, so then you could put fugitive, but I think this is pretty good for light fastness. And then granulating or non-granulating. And in this one here, I feel like I'm either going to do these or this one. I've got an extra box here for whether it's staining or non-staining, and just some room for any other information. And then what I've done here is I've just put a letter A. Now you could write it like as a capital. A lot of people just do lines for the opacity test, but I wanted to do something where I could see, I'll show you here. So where I could see the first glaze, and then the second glaze, is it going to lessen? And some of these, they're really nice. You can still see, like the upper rows, you can still completely see the A. But like for the fuchsite, the A starts to get clouded on the second glaze. So even though it's a transparent colour, so that's just information that I wanted on my swatches. And then what I've done here is the lightest colour, because I really like, let me see where it is. So I really like to use the colours in kind of their pastel forms, and this is just a quick swatch that I did of the palette. And then also here is another swatches where I tried to do like deeper values of the swatches, and yeah, and then I thought, so and then also keeping so this was organic vermilion and brown iron oxide, so keeping a little record of the colours that you mix. Like for example, I used that for the dove's feet here, so I just wanted a record of that colour. And yeah, so what I've done here is I've done the lightest sort of concentration. I've done just a dry brushed what this would be like at normal strength. And then I've done the swatches the way I like to do them, in this kind of watery bloom situation. Then I've done a second glaze over the A so that I can, I mean, you could do a heart shape or a star or a square or something else, but that's just the way I like to do it. And I use the Unipen water and fade proof. So this is a 0.5, but I was trying to get a 0.05 and they sent me this, but I'm happy with it because I can get in line with it as well. So, and so what you would do is just get just a little tiny bit of the colour and make that first swatch. And you can go back in if you think just, I mean, it's still a little bit, like it may not show up, so you can just get a bit more colour. And then for this one, I sort of apply it quite liberally here, and then just get some water and water that out and let that dry. And then we would apply the second glaze, and then down the bottom I get a fair amount of colour and just dry brush that onto there. So then that will be like, I might grab a bit more, so that would be colour at full strength. And the important thing is that you want that to completely dry before you add the glaze. And so I'm just going to glaze that halfway over the A. And then the other interesting thing about glazing like this and doing the swatches like this, and you can see I went through a few tries like with the different layouts and things like that, but I like doing the glaze because then you can see how much darker it may be than the single colour on the first application. And I also wanted to let you know with the swatches, and sorry about this, my palette is a bit of a mess because, you know, it's growing into this other palette, and I have an idea of how to melt them, and I'll let you know about that when I can do it, but for now it's kind of this situation. Eventually this will be my travel palette, and like, you know, if my sister and I go into Central Park or something, that's the one I'll be taking, but for now it's just kind of housing all the spillover colours. And so what I've done is I've actually I've done the wrong swatch for Madder Brown, so that is actually the Madder Brown swatch. I have swatched in another video. Actually, before I go, I'll just let you know what's coming up, and one of the things is this. So this is a sort of an urban sketch of Waterstone Manor in England, and somewhere I'd love to visit. And they had gorgeous Imaginarium at Christmas time, which was like lights going along the building. It was really pretty. And so I wanted to just do this to kind of show you what the granulating pigments look like when you do, you know, and what they can be used for, when you do like urban sketching. So this was like a sketch of Bethesda Terrace in Central Park, and just using those pigments, and I just wanted to show you kind of how I am doing that. And then also along those lines, I thought it would be nice, so this is not sure if you can see that, but this is a Parisian doorway, and I've drawn it twice, and I thought it would be nice to do it once in this kind of more fine art style, I guess, without the lines like a still life, and then you've got the more sketch oriented or sketch based. So I thought it would be nice to kind of see those two side by side, so we will be doing that at some point. Okay, so I think that is about all, and actually let me just quickly swatch things. Okay, so these are the Derwent watercolors. This is emerald green. Actually, so this is emerald green. This is grass green. This is golden brown. This is terracotta. And the paper that I'm using as well is the one that I pretty much use, which is the Canson. I've shown it in other videos. So this is the Caran d'Ache yellow green. This is the Caran d'Ache light green. This is the Caran d'Ache Veronese green. This is the Caran d'Ache bluish pale. And then we have the Caran d'Ache granite rose. Then we have the Caran d'Ache salmon pink. Then we have the Albrecht Duras, so this is dark flesh. Let's see if I can. And so these ones are watercolor. So this is Pink Madder Lake. Then we have light magenta. So, okay, green here, sorry. So that's light magenta. And And so now let's just have a quick look at the watercolor. The watercolor properties. And I'm not really, so you can see that doesn't wet, but I'm not really, I don't really have any knowledge of sort of pencils, what I'm looking for as far as the hardness of the lead or anything like that, but I just thought that it might be nice to have a couple of watercolor pencils that I could use for botanical art instead of the lead watercolor, you know, lead pencil that I use. And yeah, so that's all there for. For example, like if I'm sketching, you know, a petal or something like that, what I'm hoping is that the sort of the watercolor pencil will help to just create that ability to kind of do the sketches and do the watercolor, and it'll eventually like sort of blend into the painting that I'm doing. So that's my thoughts on that. And yeah, thank you for being here, thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a really nice weekend. Bye guys.